morning class. We are going to talk about classification and causes of mental disorders. And this topic can be handled under two major categories. We can classify them under neurosis and psychosis. Neurosis has to do with anxiety-related disorders, and psychosis has to do with mind, the brain. Psycho is from the word psyche, which means mind. Under neurosis, we have 5 categories of neurotic disorders. We have 1, anxiety disorder. We have 2, phobic disorder. The third one is conversion disorder, formerly called hysteric disorder. The next one is obsessive compulsive disorder. The last, which is the 5th one, is depressive disorder. Now, we want to talk of anxiety disorder. Then, for you to understand what is anxiety disorder, you need to know what anxiety is all about. Most often, people misunderstand the concept of what anxiety and use it interchangeably with the word stress and fear. So we have to distinguish anxiety in relation to fear and then stress. A stressor is an external pressure that brings to bear upon an individual. An external pressure that brings to bear upon an individual is called a stressor. So the unique subjective response of an individual to that external pressure is what we call anxiety. Take, for instance, we say now that you have exams next week. That is a stressor. It brings upon you tension. It makes you begin to feel different things. And the way you respond to situation, the way you respond to the exam situation is different from what Mr. B interprets and responds to it. So that unique individual response to the exam situation is what we call anxiety. So we now distinguish anxiety in relation to fear. Fear has to do with cognitive processes. What do I mean by cognitive processes? It has to do with intellectual processes. Now, as I cited example before with the exams, the way you interpret the examination situation, the brain now knows what exams is all about and the implication of the exams on you as an individual, what it takes to pass, what it takes to fail. So, the response, a psychological response of the exam, which is interpreted by the brain, is what we call fear. Now we have some classes of anxiety. We have 4 stages of classes of anxiety: mild anxiety, moderate anxiety, severe anxiety. The 4th one is panic anxiety. Panic anxiety. In mild anxiety, as the name implies, is just mild. It is just an anxiety that comes up as a result of our day-to-day activities. It's just a sensation or signal that shows something different has happened. Take, for instance, the man or a woman who goes to market every day to sell for him, to earn something that he will fit his family members with. If on a particular day and the market did not sell, the person did not have even one person that patronized him or her, there will be a tension. The person will feel threatened. What will I use now to feed my family members with today? What am I going to use to be able to buy food for my children? The person will have some physical symptoms, psychomotor activity. The person will feel headache. The person will feel agitated, restless. In fact, at a point in time, the BP might be high. So these are some of the physical symptoms. So in moderate anxiety, you discover that the person will have a signal that something is definitely wrong. Take for instance, in the example I cited with the market situation, a trader. If the next day the person goes to market and no sell, the third day no sell, the anxiety situation will become intense. The person will begin to have some, restlessness. The person will feel threatened. Actually, something is wrong. I need to sort out what the problem is and arrest it and to be able to handle it, solve it once and for all. The person will have some, of course, physical symptoms such as restlessness, increased BP, agitation, loss of appetite, and the rest. You also have some psychological symptoms such as insomnia. The person will not be able to sleep in the night. The person will have restlessness. The person will withdraw. The person will feel restless. Depressive tendencies will set in. The person will feel depressed. And then, of course, at this time, the perceptual view or feel of the person is still intact. The person can still perform activities. The person has not lost orientation to the what? To the actual worldview. The person can still come up or work in collaboration with others. Then in severe anxiety, the situation has become bad. The situation has become bad. It's so bad that for a week, for a month, nobody is buying at all. And then begin to have some purging, begin to have some heart break, may have some chest pain, begin to have some depression, you look unkept, become worried, you begin to feel hopeless and worthless. And then at that time you become disoriented, begin to lose hold or lose control of the reality. At that time, the person can no longer work even with the help of others. Such a person has become disoriented to time, person, and place. In panic, anxiety, the situation has gotten out of hand. The person is helpless. Now we talk of phobias, and phobia, for you to understand phobic disorder, you need to know what is phobia. Phobia is an irrational, persistent fear of a situation or object. What can I talk of? A persistent fear, rational, persistent fear of a situation or object. Take for instance, somebody is just afraid of a dog. That is phobia. Somebody is just afraid of seeing blood. That is phobia. We have majorly 3 categories of phobia. We have agoraphobic phobias. Agoraphobic phobia is talking about the kind of fear that an individual experience or exhibit when or she perceives being in an environment or setting where he or she is not safe. Take for instance, you entered a vehicle that everybody in that vehicle is wearing a black or dark cloth with a dark space, and they are armed. Of course, the fear that comes into you is agoraphobic phobia. Maybe you are purging and you find yourself in a meeting or in a marketplace where you cannot go out easily, ease yourself, you experience agoraphobic phobias. Then we have social phobias. This is a type of phobia exhibited by people who are afraid of performing in a social setting where they will be evaluated by their peers or contemporaries as person that is performing less, where the performance is being evaluated negatively, where they're being seen as performing low or less than expected. Somebody would not want to talk in a class because if I talk, my classmates will laugh at me. They will see me as somebody who doesn't know how to speak. So somebody would not want to come to stage to present, make a presentation, because if I make mistake, my classmate will evaluate me negatively. So that the kind of phobia such a person exhibits is called social phobias. Then we have situational or specific phobias. That is phobia for some specific sub-objects or situations. Under this, you would have phobias for animals or insects. You would have phobias for objects, for heights, storms, or water. Because those who exhibit phobia for animals, they have the type of phobia we call zoonophobia. Those who exhibit phobia for strangers, we have xerophobia, phobia for blood, hematophobia, phobia for water, hydrophobia, phobia for light, photophobia, and the rest. Then we talk about conversion disorders. For us to understand conversion, it was formerly called hysteric disorders. Because you know what is hysteria? Attention-seeking behaviors. Conversion disorder is a disorder that results as a result of loss of function due to psychological conflicts. It's a loss of body functions due to psychological conflicts. Most people that exhibit conversion phobias, they do it purposely to gain some attention or benefits which they derive from it. For instance, a woman whose husband is working, engaged in international business that doesn't stay at home. Certainly the man happens to come home one day and he's on his way again, you develop some sickness, you develop some symptoms, you begin to vomit, you don't eat, lost appetite, you don't eat, you don't talk, find difficulties in swallowing or eating. So all these are just attention-seeking phobias, disorders. Then we have what we call obsessive-compulsive disorder. Obsessive and compulsive. So there is an obsession and there is a compulsion joined together, giving us obsessive-compulsive disorder. What is an obsessive disorder? And what is a compulsive disorder? An obsessive disorder is a mental disorder characterized by an intrusive behavior that is brought upon an individual, resulting into anxiety with a persistent or repeated behavior to reduce their anxiety. I take it again. I said an obsessive behavior. It is an intrusive, something that comes from outside, enters into, and now causes anxiety to you as an individual. And then you have a repetitive behavior aimed at reducing that anxiety. It's called an obsessive disorder. Example, somebody will feel the urge to wash hands repeatedly. Somebody will have the urge to sit in a particular position. Let's say washing of clothes, you dry, you go and wash it again, you dry, you feel or to do those repetitive activities. It's a disorder. Secondly, we talk of compulsive disorder. Compulsive disorder has to do with